This is a comic review of The Incredible Hulk, issue 161, March 1973. So quite a few years ago. Yeah, about 40, 50 odd years ago. And for the life of a mutant. I always love that when they always put that blurb on the front. For the life of the mutant. And then next page, beyond the border lurks death. Okay. However, it's good old Herb Trimpe artwork, or Trimpe. I'm never certain how to say his name. And it's written by Steve Englehart. I hope I got his name right. Sal Trapana, Artie Simek, Roy Thomas, etc. However, a bit I just noticed when I was just in which I had never actually noticed, for finally taking the plunge and getting married. Son of a gun, it says there. So you got the beast. So it's quite nice. And I suppose in many ways, which is why you've got the story, you've got the guy going out here, Hank McCoy, of course, the beast, going with his girlfriend at the start. Somehow it just sort of makes it more, what's his name, that he just got married, and then you got the scene there. But he's gone to Canada. And of course, Canada, there's a lot of connections. You've got obviously the Mimic, got Alpha Flies, of course, Wolverine, and that's relevant apparently, because I just had a quick look on Wikipedia about the Mimic character. Obviously, you've got the Mimic there, and I like the Mimic. And it's, so in many ways, the story's a bit of a, for me, slightly. At the time, of course, I didn't know, but it's obviously, as always with Marvel Universe, there's thousands of alternate universes, worlds, whatever. So you got the Mimic, etc. So you got that storyline. But you got the Beast. He's actually the furry beast at this point. And I love the bit at the start where it actually says here, which is very unusual. This is it. The return of one of the best loved heroes in the history of comics. I'm not certain that is the... Much as the Beast is probably a very nice guy and everything, I'm not certain he's best loved heroes, but I love the return. But hang on, he's in the comic already. He's actually got him listed in the checklist at the back. Amazing Adventures. He's still going on a regular basis. And though this was actually the last time that before he went off to the Avengers. So, bit odd the way they put that, but who knows? I just love the way that Hank treats his girlfriend, frankly. You know, why doesn't he just tell her for, you know, really? You got a scene here. I'm just going to show you that scene. Look at that. He knocks her unconscious. Really? Is that really? I mean, I suppose, did Superman do that? Or going along with Lois Lane? Or, well, I suppose he did occasionally sort of suck out the air or something. You go, see, don't really think that's a really good practice to do. Just tell them. Too easy, too easy. But you got the Hulk, of course, to cause problems. And the poor old is the Mimic. And I don't know why they had to do this storyline. You got the Mimic has got some, my powers return, disappear, return the cycle, return, disappear, return, sometimes stronger, less able to control them, etc., etc. I spoke, but personally, I thought that that would have worked better as a storyline, I think, if you, and there's the Mimic, just to show the Mimic, he's got a big M. Good old, make certain, that's what you know with the guy, obviously hasn't absorbed his skills of good costumes or anything. M. Just to tell everyone who you are. Why didn't you just write Mimic? We all would know. Actually, all superheroes should have that, shouldn't they? We've got thousands of superheroes now. Just have Mimic, write their names on each of their costumes. Makes it simpler to keep track of them. And the villains as well. Dr. Octopus. And of course you've got the Hulk comes along at an inopportune time. And that's as much as I'm going to say the story. I think it's a great little story. I mean, I just love this when this came out. I still think it's an actually genuinely brilliant story now. And of course you can still find this issue. It's relatively cheap, I think. I don't think it's become in any way a particular collector's item or anything. This obviously is a slightly battered old copy, so it's not in a great condition. But you can also, I don't think the Epic collections have got up to it yet. So hopefully at some point in the next year or so, I assume there will be an Epic collection. Of course, there was the Essentials, and the Essentials definitely got to include this story. So you got that, and it's a good yarn. not going to say what happens. But of course, you can always read that in Wikipedia or just get the comic, even better. You've got the brilliant bit. This is always the bits I love as well. When I look at these old comics, I've read the stories so many times, sometimes I do have a tendency just to flick through them. And occasionally you think, oh, right, I understand that a little bit better. And actually, of course, combining it with reading on Wikipedia, what happens with Mimic, Beast, etc. You learn a bit more appreciation of this story. So, which is always good. But this is, I always love the bulletins here. You've got Thongor, warrior of Lost Lemuria, something like that anyway. Whatever it was. Creatures on the Loose. I love those issues. Marvel Origins. That was a brilliant book. Stan Lee. Deluxe edition Marvel Origins. And then you got, you also got all the other ones here. Spider-Man 118. Fantastic 432. That was my first issue. Fantastic 432. I've still got that issue. I never ever got rid of that issue. And Captain Marvel 25. Very important issue, that one, because of course it's, as it says, most talked about titles in comic book history. And it still, in a sense, is talked about because of course it's the start point with the Thanos storyline that really, really, well, obviously he turned up earlier, but that was, for me, was Thanos. Captain Marvel 25. Marvel Team Up 7. You got Thor and Spidey. Spoof 4. Never bought that. Creatures on the Loose 22. I bought all the Creatures on the Loose before that. I didn't buy that one, no. I picked up a few of them since. Thongor, an unusual character, I have to say. I wonder if they'll ever bring out a complete collection of that. Or just a small little collection license. An issue, I expect. Thor 209. Brilliant story as well. Super Droid. Captain America Falcon 159. I love that one because he's facing all the numerous characters like Cobra and the Eel and all those sort of characters. Great story. Avengers 109. That's a Hawkeye one. Submarine 59. Namor takes New York. You've got Daredevil 97. No idea what happened in that. Iron Man 56. Of course, you've just had the issue 55, which of course is Thanos. And then you've got the classic Conan the Barbarian 24, The Song of Red Sonja. Love that one. Hero for Hire, Yuletide Action. Stunningly great issue. I love Christmas issues. That one was great. The Cat, issue 3, brilliant. I love the claws of the cat. Beware the claws of the cat. Chambers of Chills, of course, some of these were, some were reprints, some not. This one, The Thing on the Roof, Robert E. Howard Strikes Again. Tomb of Dracula 7, Crypt of Shadow 2, War is Hell 2, Amazing Adventure 17. I think that was like last issue, next to last, of poor old The Beast. Cull the Conqueror, Marvel Feature 8. I've never bought any of those ones. Ant-Man was in those. I love this one. Marvel Premiere 7. Doctor Strange against the world-devouring Sumashgarath. Brilliant stuff. Night Nurse 3. Never got any of those issues, though I love the stories. And Sergeant Fury 108. There's probably a few others as well. Don't always include every issue. I'm certain there was a Millie the Model and all those sort of things that sort of fallen off the bottom of the list. But they never turned up in the UK anyway. Greenskins Grab Bags. You've got some letters, of course. Yeah. Great little comic. I thoroughly enjoy this one. The Beast story is great, even though it's a bit odd-windy. But actually, it's a nice sort of an unusual story. It's like that. Also, it was in the in-between period of the X-Men. The X-Men weren't going at that point. Maybe that's what it meant by the start bit where it says about the return of, because the X-Men sort of, you had the original X-Men, and then of course you had the new X-Men with Wolverine, etc. So, great. Hulk 161. Thoroughly enjoyed this issue.